Like we do at this time, Denny Blanco. It's in the game podcast. My man, how you doing?
Like we always do
Yo,
at
bro,
this
I
time.
keep I keep uh, forgetting the word. Like we always do at this time.
But like we always do at this time, it's in the game podcast.
All
Your
right, like we always
boys,
do at this time. All right, my bad, my
yeah,
bad.
like we
You got it.
always do at this time. Like we always
Mhm.
do at this time. Randy J. Cruz, Sir
That's right.
Denny Blanco. It's in the game podcast. We've been active. We've
Mhm.
been very active, and we appreciate you listening and watching and subscribing to the It's in the Game podcast army.
That's,
We
that's
appreciate
right.
you. Randy, talk to me.
You can find Denny Blanco on all social media platforms at Sir Denny Blanco, myself, Ray J. Cruz, Randy, letter J C R U Z. Find the podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, also on Amazon Music. And most importantly, go to youtube.com/Cruise Control Podcast. Go ahead, download, rate, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Show some love and support for your boys on the program. We are doing this live on X and YouTube. So any questions, comments, feedback you might have throughout the broadcast, let us know. Hit us up. I got two amazing guests coming on. Just plain basketball today. NBA, that's the word, that's the vibe. A lot of stuff going on in the world of the NBA. So without further ado, gonna get this four-man screen up and running. So 1 second. Boom, boom, boom. All right. All right. So I wanted to make sure I got Chris's last name correct. So Chris, how am I saying the last name?
Pursiainen.
Pursiainen. All right.
There you go.
Persianen.
I would
I wrote you a phonetic in the chat, but I also know that probably just looks like hieroglyphics. So don't worry about it.
Pursiainen. All right, there you go.
A lot of vowels.
Persianen.
A lot of
All right.
vowels touching on the plate there.
Kris Pursiainen from the brand new Locked On Knicks podcast, right?
Yeah, the refreshed Alex Wolf and Gavin Shaw, co-hosts for years. They developed a really special sound and tone and camaraderie with each other.
Nice.
I got a big pair of shoes to step into, but I also got XJ, Xavier Justin from Hot Hand Theory. He's joining as a co-host as well. So it shows how great Alex was. They needed two co-hosts to replace one guy. Listen, we know it's a big pair of shoes, but we might wear our own pairs in our own way. So excited to bring my perspective to the show. And, just recently I was able to tell our listeners on that show, like, hey, if this is interesting to you, this discussion about Pacom Dadie, I actually just wrote about him. Go check out my article. Like, I feel like this is going to be year 4 for me in the Knicks press room, but it feels like the first year that I'm really in full attack, providing, the best coverage I can. So I'll always be able to say, this show is a really fun hang. And I love kicking it with y'all. So no matter what I'm up to, I'm a fine time.
Thank you, man. We appreciate that. And first of all, congrats on this new venture for you. I know we'll be tapping in. Again, if you're watching on the bottom left, I'm gonna let my man Denny intro you because he told me off the air all the accolades for my man Dexter Henry. So Denny, take it away, man. Go ahead. You got it.
Before I jump to Mr. Henry,
he's got a notepad.
Oh yeah, I'm prepared, baby.
He prepared.
I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be better, guys.
This is like Mike Brown at Summer League, showing up, sitting courtside with like a legal pad, literally taking notes. I love it. Oh my god,
Chris, it's awesome that you're growing into the young Jedi that you are. Keep shining. I appreciate you doing everything, and always you're gonna be sharing those exclusives now that you're getting those steps in there. So paying attention to you, Chris. All right, now. I see here Dexter Henry, award-winning sports journalist for the New York Post and Sportsnet NY, first Black national weather reporter at AccuWeather, Telly Award-winning recipients for long-form sports docuseries, Sideline Stories, and is currently the New York Sports Rapid Run show host, correct?
So I actually don't do that show anymore. But yes, it's a show I used to do. So yeah, and I gotta update. I know you got the stuff off my website. I gotta update some things.
All right, well, please. I know you host some shows, so just to
so
start it there.
I host New York Got Game, a Knicks show. I host Straight Outta Flushing, a Mets show, and I co-host Liberty Lately, a Liberty show for the New York Post Sports. So I do all that.
We're happy to have you.
Thank you, brother.
Brooklyn's
That's right.
finest.
That's right.
Brooklyn's finest. Happy to have you here to talk sports. So we appreciate you having you, Randy. Where you want? Which way? Yeah, thank you. Where you want to go?
Where do I want to go?
Hey, no, in terms of Randy. Randy, you want to? Is there like because I know take it a step, decide which way you want to go first.
So today was pretty active in NBA stuff. I know we're gonna go all over the place, but real quick, Russell Westbrook is now with the Sacramento Kings. Keegan Murray has a brand new contract. I think 4 years, buck. Hold on, I got my 5 year, 140. But I guess the big news out of New York, Malcolm Brogdon retired from the NBA. So I think he was in line to make the final roster for this Knicks team who begins next week against the Cavaliers home opener. And he just said, yo, I'm done. I'm just out of thin air, out the blue. And it caught a lot of people off guard, especially the Knicks. A lot of Knicks fans thought that Malcolm Brogdon would be that veteran key piece to help out and be a championship contender, backup Jalen Brunson, be the backup point guard, all that. But now he's retired, and now they think that the team is scrambling to get a replacement or trying to figure out what this bench is going to look like. I'll start with you, Dexter. This is your first time on the show. Talk to me when you found out Brogdon was retiring from the NBA, and now what do the Knicks do going forward?
Yeah, so this afternoon, saw the news pop up from Shams, got the alert, and I was like, what? Because I had just talked to my colleague, Stephen Bondi, beat reporter for the New York Post covering the Knicks. I had just talked to him the other night. We did a video, and I was saying, hey, okay, what's the inside track looking over this final preseason game for who should get that last roster spot? And he was like, look, Brogdon is a lock. Like, Brogdon was a lock as far as going on. I think then it was going to be decided, could they move one of the young guys to possibly keep Landry Shamet and or Garrison Matthews, who I've been hearing is, making good noise and has a chance to now get one of these final two spots if they move on from one of the young players. I was shocked because I thought Brogdon could help him. Now, Brogdon did not look good defensively on Monday night. I will say that. But when he was coming in these preseason games, he still looked like a steady hand, somebody that could, handle the ball. Now I think if I have a concern is that the Knicks, let's say something happens to Jalen Brunson. Knock on wood. We are not wishing that. But let's say that happens. Who do you trust in there as another ball handler to run this offense? Brogdon was a guy you could trust to do that. Now, you're talking about Deuce McBride. That's not really his game. You're talking about Tyler Kolek, who's got some growing pains, though played very well on Monday. Talking about Jordan Clarkson. That's also not really his game. So there are some concerns there. Where the Knicks go from here, Randy, I don't know. They don't have a lot of time. That's the other thing. There's not a lot of time here in terms of making a decision. I don't know any of this. I think the Knicks value Shamet's defense a lot. I think he would have the track for that last spot. I think if they feel some of the concerns that I'm talking about in terms of having another ball handler, if they don't trust Kolek, which I'm not 100% sure that they do, they're going to have to try to pivot, make a trade, make a move. Now, I don't know who that could be. There's not a lot of options out there. Russell Westbrook just got signed today. Not that we wanted him in that role. But there's not a lot of options. My gut says to me, Shamet makes the team. They go in with the season just like that. If they need to tweak things down the road, maybe they will. I don't know if they're going to move off Lacombe Dadier or Tyler Kolek. I think Tyler Kolek made a last stand on Monday. That would be hard to move him. And now Tyler Kolek is their second best ball handler and playmaker off the bench for sure. So will he get time? Does he get that 10th man role? Maybe it's a blessing in disguise, and now he gets the opportunity to do that. But we're going to see the next, I guess I'll say 72 to 96 hours will be very interesting with the Knicks.
KP, what do you think? Brogdon retiring out of nowhere, and what options do the Knicks have as a backup point guard for Jalen Brunson?
Yeah, I don't want to speak out of turn when it comes to like something that's clearly like a personal thing for Malcolm. But like the reporting today that this has been a decision that he's been mulling over for the past few days, I think is more in line with the truth than something, for example, like the kind of story that people are running with, which is, oh, they told him he wasn't going to make the team, so he retired. Like I actually completely understand where fans are coming from with regard to that, but I don't think it's what happened. That said, I don't want to say that because McBride or Clarkson aren't a traditional true point guard, in air quotes for those listening, and because Kolek hasn't really shown he can produce at an NBA level reliably, because this business is a lot about projection, but it's also a lot about how much projection are you willing to do? You know, like, do you want to bet on someone who's done it before or who has, not ever done it? And like, like the Bucks with Ryan Rollins, I think he's the clear starter there in Milwaukee. They are going with Kevin Porter Jr. because he was on the team last year and he has some connectivity. There's some continuity with those guys. I think Ryan Rollins is definitely their best point guard. They are not starting him. He will be coming off the bench. So, like things like that matter. But also it just comes down to like Kevin Porter Jr. isn't a traditional point guard, but they have Giannis. So I guess my point is I go to Milwaukee to make this example of like, it's not always about what the position is called traditionally. Sometimes it's about what does the guy literally bring to the table on the basketball court. And like Miles McBride gives them guard play and he gives them a stopper at the top of the key. He gives them Mike Brown has already been talking about how, Deuce makes other teams work. He stops their first action. He necessitates a second or third action. Now, that's where the Pacers excelled last year. They had their way with the Knicks in that regard. That's what the Knicks are trying to get better at under Mike Brown. More pace, more shot attempts, more offense, more motion, more ball movement. I don't see why, especially in an offense with more ball movement, faster pace, playing faster basketball, getting a lot of three-point shots up, you're going to have Jalen or Mikal or Carl, probably two of those three on the court at all times. And if not Mikal, then Josh is out there, who we know really good in transition. He's asked fans to excuse one pass to Celebrity Row in the game. But outside of that, he had the most triple doubles in last season of a Knick ever. Like, that is loud to me. That tells me that they're not going to play Josh Hart at point guard, but they also may not need John Stockton coming off the bench to be able to say we have a bench guard. Like, Brown was playing Brogdon, McBride, Clarkson lineups, and I thought they were too small. That issue just went out the window. Now you have McBride and Clarkson in the backcourt off the bench. What is McBride good at? First of all, point of attack defense, which has become like an awfully overused buzzword on NBA Twitter over the last 2 years. Everyone's like, oh, I know what POA stands for. I'm going to show you. It's like, all right, thanks, guys. But my diatribe aside, McBride is an effective point of attack defender. That means he can fill in for Bridges when he's sitting in that role defensively. On offense, McBride kind of spots in for an Anunoby. Go to the corner, can create his own shot in the mid-range in a pinch, but mostly a guy who's cashing in from the corners or above the break on catch and shoot three-pointers. Just because they don't play the same position doesn't mean they can't have the same role. So when McBride comes in off the bench, he's filling in for Bridges and Brunson defensively. He's filling in for Anunoby and Brunson offensively in the sense, yes, from the guard spot, he has kind of like the OG bag, uses his strength, can shoot the three reliably, high volume, this, that, the third. So I think it's less about what the position has traditionally been called in the history of basketball. And I'm not being like, your question was dumb. I'm being like, this is how the Knicks might be looking at it and why when you look at their roster and you're like, wait, who's the backup point guard? They don't care. They have the shooting, the defense, the passing, the playmaking, the rebounding, the team defense, the individual defense, the ball stopping. If they have what they want, then they have what they think they need. And it doesn't matter what position the guy plays on paper when they're able to put out a lineup that has the sufficient pieces. So I would say it's a combination of McBride and Clarkson is the Knicks' backup point guard. That's going to be the backcourt. And also, there's no legal contract that says that if McBride is in, Clarkson has to be in and Brunson has to be out. Like, you might get Brunson and Deuce minutes the same way that Tom ended up going to that pair, you know, and in playoff settings. So I think this is definitely an unexpected shakeup with Malcolm retiring. For the team, you know, I think Shams Charania, who we know is very well plugged in with the Knicks, said right away, like, he was set to make the roster. But I also do think that when they signed him to a non-guaranteed contract in the first place, they were aware that if he got hurt in camp, they just wouldn't sign him. They just wouldn't trade a young guy. They would just keep the young guy and just not sign Brogdon. If Ben Simmons had signed a non-guaranteed contract and then got hurt in camp, same thing. Like, last year, they had Landry Shamet get hurt in the preseason, and then that kind of strapped them for months with regards to depth, and they needed to do a whole lot of G League hullabaloo to get him and Matt Ryan into the equation, just so half of them could play. And like this year, it seems like they're more intent on going into the season with enough depth to survive some injuries. So Brogdon getting hurt, it's not like they were expecting it, but it was something that they would have been ready for, And him retiring is obviously not the same as him getting injured, but the point is they were ready for this. They were fine if he got hurt going into the season with everyone else. So that's kind of, I guess, what's going on.
Yeah. Denny Blanco.
Oh, you guys. Thank you for that information. Randy, I mean, quiet as kept. Randy J. Cruz is super producer, talent coordinator. The guy has many hats, and I want to applaud him for inviting these gentlemen on because they are sharing some wisdom. This is some wisdom, Randy. And are you paying attention? Are you?
I am. I'm following.
Okay. I just want to make sure you're paying attention. And they touch on a couple of points before I land the plane on this Brogdon conversation. You're right. Traditional point guards aren't too much the bee's knees, if you will, in today's NBA. However, I've seen Tyler Kolek play. I think I've seen the video speaks for itself. I want to see more. I mean, I seen this guy go down to the G League, drop 36, and then be called up to the NBA to drop 17, 18. I've seen that in a day. That's saying something to me in terms of his commitment, in terms of how he plays. So I don't like Clarkson at the one, but we may see that. And McBride, I think McBride has shown enough where you can rely on him at the one and not worry too much. They're going to be small, obviously coming off the bench. But you both touch on some great points, but I wouldn't panic too much. I don't think anyway. Where's your panic meter, Randy? Is it on 7 or 8 for this? I
don't think it's that high.
Please.
I just want to. Well, I'm gonna ask a question to both Dexter and KP. So what do they do with this final spot? Because now people on Twitter are like, playing GM. Go get Oladipo. Go get a big man. Westbrook is out, so they have to fill out the spot, correct? That's number one. And if so, like, what position? For me, before today, I would have said, hey man, if I had one more backup big, I think I'll be satisfied. But now I need a backup big and a backup point guard. So now what is more prevalent to this team now, to get a backup PG or a backup big man going forward?
I mean, I think from everything I've heard through the offseason was, this is why they were so interested in getting Brogdon and why he was such a lot to make the team, was they wanted another ball handler there. Now, is there another ball handler out there that they can get that is clearly better than Tyler Kolek? That's really the question we're asking. We also got to remember, we are talking about somebody who's going to come in and be the 10th man. We're talking about the 10th man, pretty much here.
Yeah.
Victor Oladipo, because people have been seeing him get buckets in these preseason games.
Yeah.
Is going to be a name that's brought up. People want names they know, names they are familiar with, names that they've seen something. Victor Oladipo's been getting buckets. Is he a upgrade of a playmaker over Tyler Kolek? I would say no. Tyler Kolek already is the best passer on this team. I'm not saying he's ready for the role, but I don't know. maybe this is a blessing in disguise and they go with him. My gut says the Knicks, it's just the way Knicks have operated. They have not been a panic move team. You asked Denny, you asked what the panic level was. I don't think the Knicks are panicking on this. I don't think Knicks fans should be panicking on this at all whatsoever. If Landry Shamet gets the last guaranteed spot, that's fine. It's good to give you some good defense, give you some shooting. If it goes to Garrison Matthews, not as good a defender, but he can't shoot the ball, there's value. We're talking about the 10th man here, which is why I think if it was a perfect world and there was a ball handler they liked, they would go out and get him. But I don't know who that person is on the free agent market. I mean, we're talking about very slim pickings right now at this point in the season, unless there's somebody they really believe in. Now, if Tyler Kolek can play the way he played on Monday and not be a sieve on defense when they need him, then it could work. Maybe it's just time to give Tyler Kolek the shot. I mean, you'd feel better with another veteran there, but I don't think the Knicks are going to rush this and panicking. The timing sucks. But I do want to say this about Brogdon, because a lot of people I saw some talk on social media. It's like, well, how did he not know this and blah, blah, blah. Guys, when you're an athlete or when you do anything, I really like to try to take sports and apply it to real life work and situations. One, you don't know what's going on with people personally. You don't know how they feel. You don't know how their bodies feel. Malcolm Brogdon's been through a lot of injuries. He gave it a go. And then, and you saw in his statement where he gave to Shams, things were out of his control. That's usually physical when you can't do that. And I'm sure he would have loved to play to make the team, but for whatever reason, he couldn't do it. I wish him the best. So it's unfortunate with the timing. You'd feel a little bit better if you had another veteran ball handler, but maybe it's just me. I'm always kind of a half glass full person. Maybe it's time for Tyler Kolek to seize this opportunity that he has. He does have talent. He's a very good playmaker. And again, we're talking about the 10th man, right? Like,
that's right.
This is not somebody who's was gonna get major minutes. Malcolm Brogdon knew that, even if he had came on the team and had this role. Do you feel great if Brunson goes down, to go back to my point, and Tyler Kolek is the guy you're gonna have to start? No, because he's not good on defense right now.
I don't think they would start him. Yeah,
they'll start Deuce.
They'll probably start Deuce. He's gonna if that happens, he's gonna get significant minutes, right? He's gonna get played 12 to 15 minutes a night. Can you live with that? Yeah, but that also could be the time for him to grow and develop. We keep talking about wanting to see these kids develop. You didn't see people play under Tibbs. Mike Brown has shown a willingness to do that, and maybe now this happens. Sometimes injuries and things like this, I really do believe, can be a blessing in disguise. Kris is right. I don't think they're going to start him, but could they give him 12 to 15 backup minutes if Brunson was out? Sure. And I think he's going to get spots at that during the season. Again, my gut says to me, Shamet makes the last roster spot and go with the roster as is. That's what my gut tells me.
And like to your point before Danny or KP chimes in, it's a blessing because, when I found out, I said, you know what? This does not make the team trade the young guys for anything. Like, you keep Dadier, you keep Kolek, and now they can play now, because last year, like, hey man, we got a pretty good bench with Kolek, Dadier, Huck Porty. So I think a lot of those guys are going to get some good minutes this year. But whether Brogdon got cut or retired or whatever, at least the young guys are still on the roster. Now it's their time to shine and see what they can do and prove to a lot of people why they are still on the roster. So it's like, it's unfortunate. It's really bad timing. Like, you really tip off next week from today and say, hey man, like, if you would have told me, last week or whatever, but still people just don't know in real time when it's that time to hang it up. So now it's like you're a week away. I'm still pretty confident with this roster. People are really saying conference finals, NBA finals conversations with the Knicks even before Brogdon got on board. So I'm cool. I'm nowhere near panic mode. We were on a show last night, and our guest said, Leon Rose is never in a panic mode. Like, he's always like trying to think 1-2 steps ahead, playing chess, not checkers. So it's like, all right, it is what it is. We'll find out what we do next, and then whatever that next move is, it's gonna make sense.
Yeah, I just don't see the need to panic. Like, what I'm about to say is gonna sound like shade, but it's not. we're talking about Malcolm Brogdon, who was signed to a non-guaranteed deal. So there was always a chance he didn't make the team. It just it's just we all knew he had the inside track to make the team, and he was going to get that spot at least. And now he retired. The way it went down was unexpected, but there was always this chance with a non-guaranteed deal that he didn't make the team. So, what if through the rest of training camp and in the preseason, Tyler Kolek had shown out and balled out, and we were like, right, he looks like the better option. Well, he sure looked good on Monday night. And I'm not saying it's the preseason. I'm not saying to put any crazy stock in there. Kris and I were at the Garden on Monday night watching, and I'm not saying to go crazy with that, but I think sometimes how things happen, fans can overreact, Randy. And I don't think that this is a situation to overreact on. I think the Knicks will be fine.
Yeah.
Now depth is only as good as you have it until it's tested, is what I always like to say.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see. We always talk in sports, it's cliche, next man up mentality, but it's true.
There you go.
You got to see what guys have, and sometimes you get to see what guys are made of. Again, your guest you had last night is right. This is not a front office that has shown any panic. I do not think they will panic on this. I do not think this is a situation to panic about at all whatsoever. We're talking about the 10th man again, guys. Like, look how far the Knicks in the community has come. That we are here a week before the eve debating who should get the 10th roster spot. Right, because that's how much anticipation there is for the season, and everybody feels like this is an amazing season. It could be, and it's the most anticipated season in 30 years, and all that stuff. But yeah, this is where we're at. Where we're like, man, we're talking about the 10th man. It's a good thing. I love the discussion, but I don't think it's a reason.
But you know what, too, D? It kind of shows the respect people have for Malcolm Brogdon. We talk about 9-year veteran, rookie of the year kind of guy, like a solid player. It wasn't like it was somebody else that lowered talent. Oh, okay. He thank God he retired. But Brogdon was like that real respected veteran. Like, then he's laughing. No, but I'm saying like he was a really solid player, starter off the bench. Like, hey, if you have him, like he's a guy you can trust in those kind of situations where it might get panic mode, down 3, down 5, whatever, and you got to keep a tight ball game. So he's that the respect factor is what people were showing.
Yeah, and there's value to what you just said. Like, there's value to that, and the Knicks would have liked to have had that on the roster as opposed to not having that on the roster. I want to make that very clear. But at the end of the day, I think like anything else in life, you gotta accept what it is, and you got to move on and figure out how you move on. Like I will say to Knicks fans, trust this front office in what they've done and how they've moved. And I think they'll do the right thing. If there's a move to be made, I think they'll make it. If they choose to stand pat, I see they can stand pat. We also have to remember this. I'll say this lastly as we wrap this up. What the roster is on October 15th doesn't mean it's going to be exactly what it is on April 19th. Which is when you want the roster to look. So you don't know what tweaks can still be made. There's a long way to go. I mean, I think the Knicks are probably not going to make a lot of major moves this season. I don't see that happening. But there are some moves on the margins that could be made, and there's still a long way to go.
Hey, listen, you never know. Brogdon might pull off a Ric Flair and come back.
You never know.
Denny, KP, what you got?
Well, before I get to KP, it's in the game podcast. Once again, we got Dexter, Henry, KP in the building. Wow. We're talking about, we've just moved on from Malcolm Brogdon, but even then, I want to talk about, and I'll pose this to Kris first. Fear. When you make that next championship step, you go from being the hunter and then being the hunted. You got to have an understanding of who your competition is and who you got to go through, and I didn't realize Lonzo Ball was on Cleveland Cavaliers. My bad. I saw a clip the other day. I was like, wait, hold on, they got Lonzo, you didn't know that? Cleveland. I totally forgot. Forgot. But I say all that to say, KP, is there anyone in the East, in terms of teams, and then obviously Dexter you can go after, that the Knicks should have some fear of, in your opinion?
Yeah, for sure. I think everyone has made a lot, which is good, and fact based, of the Celtics and Pacers being weaker than you would expect if they were fully healthy. This is because, you know, not the worst possible thing. You know, none of the injuries were career ending that we know of. Like, you know, these guys, both Tatum and Halliburton, look like they're ready to start playing again next week. Like they're both really, really after their recovery and loving it. Finding a way, I think, to love the process of their recovery, if that makes any sense. And you've watched them struggle with it, and now you're seeing like Jason Tatum have success and getting back on the court already. And you know, I always say when it comes to injuries like that, like the most underrated part of it is, or the most underdiscussed part is always like, imagine like, what's your favorite thing in the world? Maybe it's sewing, maybe it's writing, maybe it is driving, whatever it is. Like, if you break your wrist, you can't just no longer pick things up. Like, you can't do the thing you love. And for these guys, you know, like these injuries where knocks them out for a year is a big deal. So the Pacers and the Celtics, and I think maybe even more so with Boston, because of all the wholesale changes they made, really are not drawing much fear. So I'll play into that, and I'll give you some other teams, two other teams that I think the Knicks should be concerned about, or at least, you know, have just one side eye on. You know, that little yes, Denny gets me, Denny hears me. You're feeling me right now. So I'd say that the team that's the obvious one, you know, you got to look through the peephole of the apartment door, make sure it's not them knocking, is the Cleveland Cavaliers. If things are going well for Cleveland, things are not going well for the rest of the East. If things are going well for Cleveland, it looks something like this. DeAndre Hunter, after being a midseason acquisition, has really gelled and congealed as a member of their core, and has figured out how to do the things that their core players do not, which is be a traditional wing, be lengthy, and make that size functional, and knock down open threes, kind of replacing a little bit of the Ty Jerome 3-point production that they lost to Memphis. They chose to bring back Sam Merrill over Ty Jerome. Can Merrill and Lonzo Ball provide them that boost in depth they need to get over the hump for Cleveland? Maybe. I believe in both of those guys if they can stay healthy. So we'll see about that. But I think most importantly, it comes down to Evan Mobley and how good he can be this season. Now, we had 2 NBA on NBC. Nice to say that again, I may add. Contributors, one being Carmelo Anthony, saying that they could see Evan Mobley having an MVP type of season. I would like to direct them to the pedal to the left of the gas. Hit the brakes on that, but I still think he'll have an all-star season. I think he'll be fighting for an all-NBA spot. I think maybe by the end of the year, we're laughing at ever thinking he might miss out on the all-NBA teams. He might be such a lock for that second or third team that it's not even funny. You're like, oh my God, this is terrifying. He's 7'1" and he's figuring out how to do terrifying things. You know, like, don't get too, like, Wemby is incredible and no one's on his level. Chet and Mobley have been able to almost like fly under the radar a little bit. Like, these guys are also horrifying to have to game plan for. If Mobley can be that X factor for them by stepping up his game to game in, game out, all-star play. Every player in the NBA can score 50 points in a game. Every player in the NBA can get 5 steals in a game like that. Like, they're in the NBA, but can you do it every night? That's what makes you a star. And I think Evan Mobley, if he's putting up 20, 23 points a night, not because they're force feeding him the ball, but because he's going and taking those opportunities away from other teammates because he trusts himself more, that shows that a little bit of that cockiness that he's been missing, that Kenny Atkinson tried instilling in him last year. There's this one play I always think of against the Bucks early in the year. Darius Garland inbounds it to Mobley. What does Mobley do? Gives it right back. And Garland is like, no, you take it. And he passes it back to Mobley and then tells him, like, go. And they go up, and Garland sets a screen for Mobley and then slips it. And Mobley finds him on a cut at the left side of the nail. And then Mobley does a give and go, and Garland lobs it to him, and he dunks it. Donovan Mitchell was not on the court. He did not touch the basketball. The Cleveland Cavaliers created the highest percentage shot possible in about 6 seconds because Evan Mobley was willing to take the ball up the court. That reminds me of Kevin Garnett. That reminds me of guys who weren't point guards, but who had the versatility to keep the defense on their toes. If Mobley can unlock more of that this season, that team is scary. The team that I'll tell you that you got to keep an eye on at the side of your glasses, that's the Atlanta Hawks. I think this is a high risk.
The birds, the dirty birds.
This is a high risk, high reward team. Kristaps Porzingis carries injury risk. He's a more significant member of their core than Lonzo Ball is of Cleveland's core. So you are more exposed to that aforementioned injury risk, potentially really affecting your season. Here's what I would think is interesting about Atlanta. Tell me, if you can, I know this is not a quiz. This is not a ball knowledge litmus test. This is just, maybe I'm forgetting. There are not many stretch fives in the NBA, period. Guys who can actually really shoot. How many has Trae Young played with before Kristaps Porzingis?
None.
Thank you. That's the correct answer. And so while I don't know that, Nick Tesla was in the garage cooking up the most electric possible invention, and it's Trae Young with the stretch five. Like, I don't know that this is going to revolutionize basketball. I don't know that Dr. Naismith is looking down being like, good God, I never pictured this. But it's something different. It's a different look for them. It's a new look for them. And with Onyeka Okongwu still out there, with the ability to play both Porzingis and Okongwu in the same lineup, or just one of the two, with Dyson Daniels and Zach Ricochet giving them young, hungry, event creating on both ends, deflections, steals, interceptions like cornerbacks. The two of them with those lanky arms can just snatch a pass out of the air. This team, their X factor is Jalen Johnson. If Jalen Johnson can make that, like I said before, do you all agree Jalen Johnson has the talent to score 40 points in a single game? I bet you all do. Yeah. Do we all agree Jalen Johnson has the talent to record 12 assists in a single game? I bet we all do. Do we all agree that Jalen Johnson has the talent to average 28 and 5? I think we think he could do it, but that's not speaking off experience. That's him not having made that star leap yet. If he can do that, this is a dangerous team. This is a team that probably scares me more than the Orlando Magic, who just made a big splash acquisition. But if the Hawks click, and listen, there's a couple things that really this depends on. It depends on, like I said, first, Kristaps' health. Second, the extent to which they can integrate, Porzingis and these new additions like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, big time, big money signing for them in free agency. What does he look like? Is he starting? I think he's probably their sixth man. Could he win sixth man of the year? You follow all these trees of thought. If all these things click, which again, most teams, 29, don't win the championship every year. But if these things click for Atlanta, I could see them being a top 3 team in the East and a team that the Knicks should maybe not wake up in the middle of the night like a Dwayne Wade Gatorade nightmare, fearing, but at least, keeping an eye on them.
Yeah, and I think
go ahead, Ray.
Below the radar to many will be Luke Kennard. I think he can be that nice outside jumper, because I'm not sure if they have Bogey on the roster still, but if they don't, that's like your new Bogey kind of player.
Clipper.
He's on Clippers.
Clipper.
Bogey's on the Clippers.
So Luke Kennard took the Bogey spot.
But
and that I think that's like a good replacement. I agree with you. That's a good fill-in for that. It's the trade that got Terrence Mann to the Nets, Bogdanovich to the Clippers. It was a whole thing.
Dex, before you go too, also I'm pushing back a little bit. KP. Atlanta, we're relying on you're saying the more fears Atlanta, not Orlando. And you talking about a KP question mark KP. And there's no question mark when it comes to Franz Wagner. There's no question mark when it comes to Paolo Banchero. I don't see how you're not fearing them. More than you're fearing Atlanta.
I'm with Dex. I'm co-signing whatever Dex is about to say.
Dex, please,
I'm gonna say this.
Yours, please.
So I'm with Kris that I think Atlanta's a team they could fear because they have such high variance on offense.
Boom.
I think the length,
high risk, high reward.
Yeah, and I think the length they've added defensively, like they've got a guy in Dyson Daniels who you could throw on JB, and he's not going to stop JB.
but he's going to give him some problems.
He's not going to stop Kevin Durant either. The point is, that's one player that you could throw on either one of those guys.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Trae Young being a sieve on defense, to use Dex's term, doesn't matter so much. you know?
Because he's so good defensively. They've got some length. I like the Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Randy, I'm with you. I like them bringing in Luke Kennard. There's some moves I made. I just think they're a team I could see playing good down the stretch of the season, and they're like the team the Knicks see in the second round, and you're like, that was a hard fought 6 games. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could see that.
Like Detroit was.
Yeah. Here's where I'm going to go with the Magic.
Way different challenge.
Talk to me about the Magic. Yes, please.
Bigger challenge than Detroit.
I do agree with Chris. They're a bigger challenge. I think they're just much better offensively than Detroit would be. Here's the thing for the Magic. The one thing I know you're going to get from the Magic, Denny, is they are going to bring that defense every night. Jamal Mosley is going to have them playing defense. That will be a top 5 defensive team. I have no worries about that. Is Franz Wagner, you said you have no questions. I got a question. Is he going to shoot the ball well enough from the outside for me consistently? Same with Paolo. Their 2 best stars. I got to see them hit the shots. This is why they got Desmond Bane up in there. They need Desmond Bane to be a 40% three-point shooter. But those other guys got to hit. Go ahead. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you cook, Denny. Go.
Dex, you see, Franz Wagner just came from Germany, right? Came, got the with the Euro League, got the Euro League chip. They got the Euro League chip. Came through. You know, during the playoffs. I mean, obviously regular season, but during the playoffs, forget the plays. We need guys that can give you 2 or 3, and you got 2 guys on Orlando. Forget Desmond Bane. He's on the wing. Throw it down to Paolo or Franz. The double's going to come. Either it's going to be a layup, a jump shot, and it's going to be kick out to Desmond Bane. God bless Orlando if they get a solid big. If they get a solid, strong big, Dexter, please.
That's a big if, though.
Denny, we trust Paolo's talent. We trust the kind of player he can be. Do you know what percent of the NBA had a better true shooting percentage than Paolo last season?
Share that, please.
64% of the entire league had a better true shoot. So I'm not saying that Alex Caruso or that Isaiah Joe had the ball as much as Paolo, that they're expected to be, that they're not expected to be much more efficient because their offensive role is much smaller. My point is, when the Paolo Banchero is the guy, even with Bane on the team, that is the linchpin of your offense where things are going to run through him. And he's had one season in his career where he was above the 85th percentile in terms of offensive efficiency. And it was a season where he played half the year. I'm not encouraged, right? Like Paolo,
be more efficient.
When you look at Paolo, the location of his shots, 76% of the league takes more of their shots from behind the arc than he does. Like proportionally, he's not a big 3-point shooter. This makes him great at playoff basketball because he's consistent. He's reliable. He's an engine. Mike Brown talks a lot about sprays. Paolo, like Julius Randle for the Knicks for years, draws those double teams and can make the read to spray out to an open shooter. My problem is with the 1 of 18, the 5 of 17, the 4 of 22 games that he puts up in that process. Will Desmond Bane help with that? Yes. Is Desmond Bane going to make Paolo miss less than 18 of his 22 shots in a playoff game? I think yes, because he will get Paolo easier shots. But we talked about it, who's going to back up Brunson at point guard. Who is the point guard on this team? You got Suggs.
There's no Suggs out.
Bane. Suggs and Bane were going to project to be like maybe running back by committee, but
and they traded Cole Anthony, so he ain't there no more.
And he wasn't a floor general anyway. So with Orlando, you're hoping that Franz and Paolo being better playmakers than the average forwards and bigs at their positions is going to help you. I think it will help you. Is that going to win you a playoff series against the Cavs?
Ding.
Hawks?
I think he'll help you in the regular season.
I don't think you can get over that hump. I wouldn't be surprised if the Magic won 48 games. I wouldn't be surprised if they won 58 games. But in the postseason, I would be surprised to see them in the conference finals.
All right, 100% agree.
I don't. 100%. Yeah, well, that and also rolling the dice on Chris Stapps.
That's another point. That's true.
Chris Stapps is out for half the season. I mean, yeah.
So Tyus Jones is on the Orlando Magic, so that's
Not
probably
enough.
the point guard. I'm just saying he's the point guard.
You
So.
are correct. He is on the team, and he is a serviceable veteran guard. You know, he could have helped the Knicks last year more than someone like Campaign or DeLon Wright. That said, I don't, like Denny kind of said, like that can't be the bar. Like, just to give you some advanced analytics on Tyus, you really are going to need his defense to be covered up by the other guys out there in Orlando. In the last season, where he played 81 of 82 games, he was 10th percentile defense. And the year before that in Washington, and again, this is probably a lot more to do with their team defense being awful, but he was 2nd percentile in defensive EPM in the entire league. So want to say that was the Wizards being bad, that it was, 20th percentile level each year, which is, stretching it. That's still bad. So like we can put a full glam on the pig. It's not.
Yeah.
Randy, do you want to transition to snapping our fingers with being Thanos? And because clearly our guest tonight, clearly from the vibe I'm getting, excuse me, pardon me, let them confirm, because the vibe I'm getting is, okay, let's just say we really don't fear nobody in the East, wink, wink, and we're in the NBA Finals representing the East. Hypothetically, it seems like we're all on the same page, gentlemen. KP, Derek, we can start. Excuse me, Dexter. We can start with you. Dexter. Start with you.
It's all good.
In terms of the Knicks making the NBA Finals, is there anybody in the West you don't want to see?
I got Dexter. I mean, I think the obvious answer is OKC, just because of how much good two-way depth they have. But for me, a team I really like in the West is Denver. I like the moves they made. I think the Cam Johnson trade for Michael Porter Jr. was huge.
Yeah,
huge. Because I think he's going to be healthier. I think he's going to be good. I think getting Bruce Brown back is huge. Their depth is better. And I also think, kind of like the Knicks, I think these two teams are a little similar because they had coaches that only wanted to go 7-8 deep, right? And during the regular season, and Mike Malone, this is why when people wanted Mike Malone as a Knicks coach, I was like, why? It's doing the same thing over again. Why would you want to do that? And that I like Mike Malone as a coach. I actually like him as a coach, but I think he's a little bit rigid in his ways. Anyway, Denver, I think, has made some good additions to the bench. Even Tim Hardaway Jr., they've got a little bit more help around Jokic that I think is good. I just think anytime you got to face Jokic, that's a problem. There's almost a world in which I might rather see OKC than Denver because of how much respect I have for Nikola Jokic and how dope he is. And I think how he can just control a game sometimes without even scoring because forget big man, he's the best passer in the league.
Is he the best center in the league?
Oh, yeah.
He's the best player in the league.
He's the best player in the league for me. I know. Listen, I remember arguing with people this about 2 years ago, and they're like, he's the best player in the league. He looks like he plays YMCA ball. And I'm like,
those are the best players.
He's still busting that ass.
Still can't guard him.
Like,
the best
what
players.
are we talking about?
No
athleticism. You still can't guard him. And the last time I checked, it was about, scoring more points than the other team, getting buckets, doing all this stuff. Nikola Jokic has been, a serviceable defender. He's not a good defender, but he does all the other stuff. He rebounds, passes. So, yeah, Denver's probably the team for me. The West is going to be a gauntlet, but like I'm always. Not. It always is, but I'm not. There's teams where I'm like, I have question marks on whether it's the Lakers. The Lakers, to me, could be a top 4 team. They could also be a playing team. I have no idea. Houston, I think a lot of people were high on them.
I like Houston.
I think the Fred VanVleet injury is huge for them. I think a lot of people have Amen Thompson rising, and I am, I will say I attend the church of Amen Thompson, and may the people say amen. I think he's extremely talented. I think he can get things done. But now you're going to put the ball in his hands a lot and probably have him at point guard. That's a lot to ask of somebody who's never done it before in the NBA. We know point guard is the hardest position to run in the league. It is tough. There's going to be adjustment period for him for that, as talented as I think he is. So, yeah, for me, it's OKC and Denver, but I think we should spotlight Denver because I think Denver is right back in that championship conversation. because they have the best player. I think they did what they needed to do around him this offseason in terms of maximizing the talent. They still have Jamal Murray. If Jamal Murray's healthy, if they're healthy, Jamal Murray's healthy, Cam Johnson is healthy, Bruce Brown back, Tim Hardaway Jr. doesn't, shoot 18 shots. Aaron Gordon, who's like one of the best starting role players in the league.
Because if Aaron Gordon is healthy in Game 7, that can go either way. OKC may not even get past round 2.
Yeah, I want to say, I think if the Knicks play Denver, I think that's going to be a damn good final.
I picked Denver to win that series. I was moved by them all last year. And to jump in here, because I know you guys are getting into talking about the different guys on the roster. Like I liked the team last year, and you can't just talk about it in a vacuum of I think they got better. Right? Did other teams get more betterer? Then all of a sudden it doesn't matter that they got better.
Better. Oh,
none of that. None of that was a word. None of those were words. None of that was in the Bible. I can't say that it matters that Denver's better than last year just on its own. Here's why I think they're better in a way that's meaningful. A lot of the problems that Denver had last year came with just straight up not being able to survive any injury at all. Like if one guy went down, all of a sudden they were plugging in someone who they really did not want in their rotation. Just not an insult to that player. They're just that good of a team that's where they're at right now. They made the move that everyone's talking about, which is, in my opinion, upgrading Michael Porter Jr. to Cameron Johnson. I think Cam Johnson is a much more schematically endowed player. Like he is a better fit in more kinds of offenses. This will give the Nuggets scheme versatility. It also, Cam Johnson nor Michael Porter Jr. neither one of them are guys that can take someone off the dribble and just go be a number one option in a pinch. But Cam Johnson did do that in Brooklyn because of an offense that moved the ball around a lot, kind of Mike Brown style. Well, that's interesting because, who coaches Brooklyn? Oh, yeah, the guy who came from Sacramento from being right under Mike Brown. Oh, that makes sense. So, when they run that kind of offense where they're moving the ball around and playing with pace to compensate for a talent deficit, Cam Johnson was the de facto number one option. We've seen players like him and Mikal Bridges be able to succeed, again, in air quotes for those listening because they didn't win any games, but they held up their weight. Especially Cam this last year was a locker room leader for them. And that's, I think, a different look than Michael Porter Jr., who kind of needed to be locker room led. So I think that's a different look for them. And also with Cam, defensively, he's not some Herculean defensive talent or improvement over Michael Porter Jr., but I do think he's slightly better. And that, with his knowledge of the schemes and everything, we'll take that as a little bit of an upgrade in their starting lineup where they really made huge upgrades, but it matters less because these guys are on the court less, but it plays into my point about depth and being able to survive any potential unfortunate injuries. Yes, they bring in Tim Hardaway Jr. on a minimum contract. It is true that he made enough money on his last deal to justify Maverick fans being upset with a lack of performance. On the Denver Nuggets, on a minimum contract, he really just gets to go out and do what he does. And he's on that Gary Trent, that kind of smaller deal that, this guy is a gift that we were able to bring in for that amount of money. And we kind of just have to see it like that. I don't know how much juice this guy has left, but they brought Bruce Brown back into the mix. That's someone who, if someone like an Aaron Gordon goes down, all of a sudden you're not looking to Daron Holmes, rookie who's injured, and being like, oh, we do have to play 40-year-old DeAndre Jordan, who, by the way, held it the hell down out there despite being as old as he is. But and having a game his entire career that showcased his athleticism. So I think this is a testament to how good he is at the other stuff that we kind of didn't notice because he was too busy dunking on everyone, that he's 38, 39, 40 years old and still contributing to a top team. But now they have Jonas Valanciunas. We kind of all just forgot about this. It's gone super under discussed all summer to the point where I don't think any of you brought it up. And I wasn't even and they're missing No, they have Jonas Valanciunas backing up Jokic now. They're not going to play those guys together in large minutes. They're not going to need a great backup center. It's like the joke with the Sixers where it's the best gig in the league to be the Sixers or Nuggets backup center because they barely need you. But then the Sixers, you end up becoming accidentally important at work, like Andre Drummond. But like this Denver team has Jonas Valanciunas, and then if something happens with J-Val or Jokic, they have a second-year redshirt Deron Holmes II to bring into the rotation. So like they're prepped this year. Last year they had just enough guys for a rotation, kind of like the Knicks the year before. Like the Knicks were starting Alec Burks in the playoffs by the end of that season. Like Denver was starting Julian Strawther. Denver was starting these guys who they are happy to have on their team, these young players that they believe in, but who should probably not be starting playoff games in the second round or in the first round against James Harden and Kawhi Leonard or against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, that's not an insult to these second and third players who were all of a sudden thrust into being one of the 8 most important guys in a rotation of a playoff team that won the championship a couple years before. That's a hell of a lot. They have some vets in the mix now. Depending on what Bruce has, he might be a rotational player for them. Maybe in the playoffs. I don't know. I kind of doubt he's in the playoff rotation because I don't know how much, meat on the bone is left there with regard to his career. And I'll be very gladly proven wrong if he's out there, making plays, drawing charges, making the right reads, setting great screens, rebounding the basketball. But like Tim Hardaway and J-Val, even just the two of them, that's a big difference. That's a more experienced version of Strawther. That's a more experienced version of Saric, a more effective version of each one of those guys.
Yeah. To answer Denny's question before I go into these top 100 player list, Western Conference, I like Denver. Obviously OKC. On paper, the Clippers can be a team if they get their hold up, bro. Hold on.
On paper, they're absolutely a team.
On paper, and also if they get their shit together, right? If they remain healthy, and the Kawhi of them all can be 60, 65 games. Hold up. Oh, we change it real quick.
We're having technical difficulties. Please bear with us. It's in the game podcast.
Yeah,
we're here with you.
We modified it. Clippers, they added Bradley Beal. They added Chris Paul. They added Brook Lopez, and they added John Collins. So, I mean, outside of John Collins, it's more of an older roster. But you still got James Harden there. You still got Zubac there. You got some other pieces. But like on paper, I can see the team being in that mix of a top 6, top 5, top 4, remaining healthy, everybody. Also, the Mavericks. So when Kyrie does come back, right? Hold up. Let me get my man Dexter back on. There we go.
My internet just cut out.
But no, it's all good. The Mavericks, right? So when they get Kyrie back, obviously you get Cooper Flag, you got Ant Davis there, you kept Lively, you kept PJ Washington there, you still got Klay Thompson there, you added D'Lo, and then I'm just saying when Kyrie comes back, this could be a very interesting roster to have come playoff time. I know I'm forgetting the other big man, not Lively, but
AD, you talking about AD, not
Lively? Gafford. So now you add him, and I'm like, hey, again,
they're front loaded. They loaded.
They're loaded. So you have a lot of teams that are loaded, but like, I'm not gonna forget like the Minnesota Timberwolves just went to back-to-back conference finals. I'm not gonna shit on them because they can go back. So as long as you got Ant-Man and Randall and Dante and those boys, like don't sleep on them. But I like Dexter's pick of Denver, also KP Denver, but like the Mavericks, I don't know about the Lakers, the Rockets, that Van Fleet ship maybe kind of derailed some things because I don't know who their starting point guard is on opening night. The Warriors, I don't know. I don't know about the Warriors.
Golden State fans, if you think that front line is going to have any hope against OKC, Houston, Denver.
Yeah.
Am I missing a big front
Minnesota,
line?
Clippers.
Minnesota. Even the Kings.
Yeah.
Please.
And I haven't even mentioned, like, San Antonio's out there. Like,
how do we get the King? Where do the Kings come from, man?
I didn't say Kings.
See, everybody paid attention. That's good.
That's a step way too far.
My man said Sacramento Kings.
Kings gonna be happy for the playing.
I mean, also remaining healthy, Memphis, Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson, like, it just, they might be in that 6-7 kind of range, but I think the top 4 from the West could be OKC, Dallas, Houston, and the Clippers, and also Minnesota, top 5, Minnesota.
Dallas. I don't know without Kyrie. I don't know, man.
Look, with Kyrie, I mean, let's just say Kyrie, let's say hypothetical, Kyrie does come back this year. I think it'll be, depending on where the Mavericks are playoff wise, let's say they are top 3. I think Kyrie comes back for the playoffs. If they're like in the playing game, he might dub it. You know what? I'm not gonna risk myself doing this, and I'll come back fully healthy the following year. But it's like, it depends on what AD does. Cooper Flag, like, it's gonna be a lot of invigorated energy. So Kyrie might say, "Yo, fuck it. If I'm healthy, I'm gonna go for it." So like, he's not gonna be like Tatum, talk about, "Yo, I want to come back in March." No, bro, sit down, relax, take your time, come back fully healthy the following year. Same with Tyrese Halliburton and obviously Dame Lillard. All the injuries suck, but it's like, I think Kyrie of all them players will probably be the first player to come back. And I think depending what the Mavericks are doing in playoff time, I think he'll try to give it a go. But I do want to get into we always do this every year. We see a big list, top 100, top whatever players, and it goes on social media, and everybody's saying, "Yo, why he top 5, why he top 10, or it's too soon." So the game is to get people talking, and that's exactly what Bleacher Report and The Ringer do every year. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this entire list of Ringer or Bleacher Report top 100 players in the NBA. Do note players such as Tatum, Dame, Halliburton, Van Fleet, DeJounte Murray, Kyrie, and Tyler Hero are not there because they're not currently active. So,
you want to do 25 down? 25 down?
Let's do 25 down. First of all, have you guys seen this list at all?
I have not looked at it fully.
I haven't looked at it on purpose.
Even better.
Wonderful. That's why we do this show.
Better.
Sometimes I get annoyed with lists. But
we want you annoyed, Dexter. We want
you might get me annoyed.
We want you annoyed. All right. Yes.
We're gonna go with the Ringer first. All right. 25 down with the Ringer. And if you want me to stop, tell me to stop.
Yeah. I mean, you want to just you don't want to. I mean, Ringer, Bleacher, Ringer. Either way, it's probably going to be the same list if you want to stick with Ringer.
I'm gonna go Ringer first because sometimes they might flip flop on purpose. 25 Jimmy Butler, 24 James Harden, 23 Chet Holmgren, 22 Alperen Sengun, 21 Pascal Siakam, 20 Jaylen Brown, 19 Banchero, 18 Devin Booker, 17.
Let me stop you right there, man. How is Paolo ahead of all these guys?
Paolo ahead of Jaylen Brown.
Paolo ahead of Siakam. Jaylen Brown, I could maybe get. I think they're a similar kind of player, except one has
shouldn't even be ahead of Harden. And Harden is
the and but he's definitely Siakam should be.
And where was Chet Holmgren? I feel like he was a little too high.
That was 23.
They had him Holmgren with Harden. Also, yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that, but if Mobley is much, much higher than Chet on this list, I don't think that's accurate. And if he's much, much lower, I don't think that's accurate. So I think they're already setting themselves up by the fact that we've heard Chet's name at 22 or 23. I'm terrified to see if Mobley's going to be in there like top 10 or something.
Let's go.
Get back to it.
You know what? I got you, gentlemen, right here. I'm gonna put the thing
even
up.
Then, like I would have moved.
No, don't put it up, Randy. Just
don't
tell
put
me.
it up.
No, yeah, but he's not doing this.
Oh, okay.
No, don't put it up there. I would have moved.
Okay,
I would have moved Siakam up further. Siakam's actually 25 is Jimmy. Yeah, so Siakam is 20.
Siakam's a better player than Paolo Banchero right now.
So is Jimmy Butler.
And Jimmy,
but they're looking at the upscale of Banchero coming back fully healthy, full season.
Yeah,
the
also,
main anchor behind. Go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned that. So obviously Jimmy Butler just got traded. So we haven't seen the full season of him. They're obviously putting James Harden. They're showing an up arrow based on their trajectory and what they've been doing going forward. So I guess that's why but then they have Jaylen Brown at 20 coming off the season. So why would you have, good question, Paolo at 19 when all those other players took their teams further in the playoffs?
Yeah. All right.
That makes sense.
Keep going, though.
All right. Banchero, 19. Devin Booker, 18. Cat, 17. Evan Mobley, 16. 15, Jalen Williams. 14, Kawhi. 13, Cade Cunningham. 12, AD. 11, LeBron.
Would you rather have and Mobley should be 12? I'd rather have Mobley right now over AD. And somebody say no.
No, that's ridiculous.
No.
Come
on, man.
Yeah, I'm not going that far.
We'll all immediately say no, actually.
I like Mobley, but I think Mobley is way too high on this list.
He's way too high. Jalen Williams is too high. Yeah. These guys, Mobley and Jalen Williams are both really good. But like,
too high.
Are they better than Jimmy Butler? Either one of you're telling me the Thunder aren't better if Jimmy Butler is there instead of Jalen Williams? One should not be 10 spots over the other either way, but definitely not the way they put it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jimmy should be 15.
I love Jalen Williams. I was so high on Jalen Williams before the draft. I still think he's so good, underrated. All the things he does on the margins. He's an amazing talent. He's long. He's athletic. He's very strong. He plays like it. He's not 10 spots better than Jimmy Butler, who was the best player on a finals appearance team twice in 3 years. Like,
all facts.
We don't need to lie to ourselves and be like,
Jimmy should absolutely be number 15, and Jalen should be 25. But we go.
Okay. Here we go. Top 10 from the Ringer. 10, Kevin Durant. 9, Jalen Brunson. Number 8, Donovan Mitchell. Number 7.
How many times does Brunson have to beat Mitchell in the playoffs for us to be honest about what's going on?
Say Brunson is better than Mitchell.
I think Jalen Brunson is a better player than
they went head to head. Dallas and Utah. Luka was out. Who won the series? They went head to head. New York and Cleveland, each the number one option. Who won the series? Then, since then, what has either team done to make it seem like we should not go off of the head to head results?
Cleveland won a whole bunch of games last year. That's, I guess,
and who went further in the playoffs? Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
So then, if it's still tied, which is what I'm positing, is that it's still there's been no change where either one has taken some huge leap over the other. Why are we not defaulting to every time these guys face off in the playoffs, the same one wins every time?
Yeah,
that's just silly. It's silly to me. Go on.
Maybe I'm nitpicking, but they could flip both of them there.
Brilliant point, KP. And let's not skip over this fact. 45-year-old LeBron James is at number 11.
I'm fine with where LeBron is.
It's a little high.
It's a little high, though, because I just think he doesn't give you anything on defense anymore. But
please, Dexter, go ahead.
But he's probably at minimum a top 15 player, top 17 player for what he can give you. That's wildly impressive at this age. But we got to stop doing that too. To Chris's point, like we don't always have to like have that caveat and that's wildly impressive for his age. It's like this is why I think he's ranked a little too high. You could drop him down a little bit. No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about like
they have him 4 or 5 spots over Kawhi Leonard, who's way better than him when both are healthy.
And
Kawhi isn't healthy all the time, so that's why Kawhi got dinged down to 15.
But shouldn't LeBron be?
But LeBron is missing the first month of the season. So what are we?
He's dealing with sciatica, which is like, no offense, it's like that sounds like an older person's injury, and I can say that because I'm close. I'm a little older than LeBron, so I can say that.
I just like we pick and choose when to keep. Like, yes, it makes sense that Alperen Şengün, who's never led his team to a conference finals or whatever, is only in the 20s. But like LeBron, the reality of LeBron right now, is he really 13 spots or 12 spots or 10 spots better than Şengün? I feel like those guys are damn near similar. They should both be under Pascal Siakam at around the 18 to 20 mark.
I 100% agree. But no, we don't want to be honest about
it. Harden and Siakam are better right now than either of those two guys. But
I agree completely.
I mean, they probably put LeBron above Şengün because still in year whatever it is, 25, 8 and 8, 51 from the field, 38 from 3, 78 from the free throw line,
and none of this, and none of this.
No defense.
Anyway, Donovan Mitchell number 8, Steph Curry number 7, Wembanyama number 6.
I like
Ant-Man 5, Luka 4, Giannis 3, Shea 2, Joker 1.
That's all good with me.
They cooked in the top 7.
They locked in for the top 7.
The top 7
is locked in, right? We all agree with top 7.
I'm fine with that. And I think there's a world in which, depending on how the season goes, Victor is we might be talking about him as 3 or 4 after this season. We'll see how he elevates the Spurs this year, but he's that good.
I think the lack of winning that team does, because the rest of the roster, like, even though we like to pretend the big names are fun, is not built to fit together nicely. Like they have Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell and De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper, and it's like, okay, guys, you know, like they gotta like, I think that they should be on the phone with Utah tomorrow, being like, oh, you guys like what Ace Bailey's doing in the preseason, right? What about Keldon Johnson and maybe like a Keldon Johnson and Jeremy Sohan and a first-round pick, and then like 2 second-round picks as the starting offer for Lauri Markkanen.
Okay, okay, I want to make sure you were going to talk about trading Markkanen. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And
get Markkanen and Wembanyama, 2 7-footers in the front court. One defends all over, one shoots all over. The other also shoots all over. Like I think they should be a little more aggressive. Like they just went and traded 2 first-round picks for De'Aaron Fox, and now it's like, well, hold on, guys, they don't need to solve this thing with De'Aaron and Dylan before we even know if it's a thing, and let's just wait and see. They just traded 2 first-round picks to win games now. That's not a wait-and-see move at all. You got Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell fighting for the same shots in the same area of the court.
I agree. I like that.
And they also re-signed Fox to 4-year, $229.
They extended him.
Awesome. And keep Harper if you want, and have Fox and Harper play together and do whatever. But that we cannot let that discussion distract us from the fact that they need to consolidate in other areas. They can leave the guard situation as is. Don't trade any of Castle, Harper, or Fox. But if you can move Keldon Johnson and Castle and get someone who you weren't expecting to shake loose at all, and get someone who you're not expecting to shake loose at all, who can fill that role, like what's a decent example? Let me just try and think. This wouldn't happen, but let's say that, and because it wouldn't happen, I think it's a good example. Let's say OG Anunoby was entering a contract year and was a guy like that was on the move. I would take Keldon Johnson and Stephon Castle with no draft picks attached and trade that for someone like Anunoby, just like they need to be consolidating out in San Antonio. But I like a lot of their talent.
So before I go to Bleacher, so go back to San Antonio. You're saying in a hypothetical sense, Keldon Johnson.
They should get a little more. They should get a little more active,
but not Castle. You said somebody else. Sohan.
No, he said Vassell. He said Keldon Johnson and Vassell.
If the Keldon Johnson and Vassell are kind of redundant, so if you can trade one with someone like Sohan or Castle for a big upgrade, I think that's a consolidation that might be worth it.
And you trade Castle because they already have Fox and Harper.
I'll trade Castle because I don't know that any player is good enough to be worth not doing what's best for Victor Wembanyama, because he's that much better than everyone else.
And if somehow Lauri Markkanen does come to San Antonio with this trade, I mean, your starting 5 is Victor, Lauri Markkanen, De'Aaron Fox. Are you starting Harper?
No, I'm letting him come off the bench.
Either Johnson or Vassell, whoever's remaining.
Yeah, so Fox and Vassell, and then Lauri and Wemby, and I probably try and honestly, if I'm them, I'm calling the in-state Rockets, seeing, is there a Sohan for Tari Eason swap that the Spurs could add some capital or some young
Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes, your starter.
Yeah, do the Spurs have a guard that they could trade to Houston? Probably not. So you need a 3-team trade. Yeah. There's something there, man. There's something there where like the Spurs can consolidate a little bit and just get their roster a little more ready. Like Chris Paul left, so now they could use a guard. They got Dylan Harper. That's awesome. let him fill that role. That doesn't take away from the fact that you've got too many wings, too many forwards that are all the same kind of players fighting for the same minutes, the same shots, in the same spots. If that makes any sense. Like
100%.
We saw the Jazz for years have Sexton and Clarkson, and then they drafted Keontae George and Bryce Sensabaugh and now Walter Clayton Jr. And it got to the point where they had enough guards where they're like, damn, we really just have to like trade Sexton for Yusuf Nurkic apparently, and we need to let Jordan Clarkson walk just so we can actually let these guards we drafted play. The Spurs have a lot of wings, and they just drafted Carter Bryant, who is going to be awesome on his rookie deal. But like, where are you finding minutes for Carter Bryant right now when you have Harrison Barnes, Devin Vassell, and Keldon Johnson and Jeremy Sohan all playing the 3 and 4? I'm not saying if you're trying to be a good team, you need to trade veterans to make room for rookies. Otherwise, I'd be saying the Knicks should just cut Shamet and Brogdon to make room for Kolek and Dadier both, right? But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a team that just gave up 2 first-round picks to win games right now. So if Carter Bryant is cost efficient and can help you win games just as much as Harrison Barnes can, then let's take that salary and be productive with it. Let's make the team better instead of sitting on the depth.
Facts. Let us see if Bleacher has somewhat of the same mix for their top 25, and I'll go quick. 25 Siakam, 24 Harden, 23 Trae Young, who we did not hear in the 25 on Ringer. 22 Sengun, 21 Jaylen Brown, tie for I guess 19 to 20 with Banchero and Kawhi Leonard. 18 Cat. 17 Jimmy Butler, who's higher on Bleacher Report list. Devin Booker. 16, 15 Jalen Williams. 14 Evan Mobley.
Booker in the first 25?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
He was in the other one.
Okay, I think it's like 18, 17.
Okay. Yeah.
13 Cade Cunningham. 12 AD.
Where's this Cade? He lost in the first round, so now he's better than Pascal Siakam, who was a key member of 2 different teams in his life that have been to the finals. Like,
Pascal Siakam disrespect is high.
Well, Cade led the team to the fucking playoffs.
A first round loss. So did D'Angelo.
He was
D'Angelo Russell did that in Brooklyn.
He sure did.
He was an all-star last year. Cade Cunningham.
D'Angelo Russell was that kind of guy. That didn't like. I think Detroit's so bad that we allow any modicum of goodness to.
Detroit did lose Hardaway Jr., Schroeder, and they lost.
I want to see what they do this year because they lost. They lost. I thought some pieces,
and they got Harris LeVert to make up for it.
Yeah, they got no Beasley, Hardaway. It's going to be interesting to see what Cade does with that.
They got some guys, but it's not. I just don't. I don't.
Last year, 26, 9, and 6.
Those numbers is tough.
He's crazy. He's awesome. But how many turnovers per game?
High usage rate too. I get it.
Second most in the NBA per game.
Yeah, he's gonna have to get that down.
After only, actually, I don't know who averaged the most turnovers.
He's gonna get that down. It's gonna take some time. Season 5.
Number 12, AD. Number
Trae
11.
Young averaged the most turnovers per game last year.
I was gonna say
bing, 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 bing.
11 KD. So KD is not top 10 on Bleacher. Top 10 for Bleacher is number 10, Jalen Brunson. Number 9, Donovan Mitchell. Number 8, LeBron. So LeBron is higher on Bleacher than the Ringer. Ant-Man 7, Victor 6, Steph Curry 5, Luka 4, Giannis 3, Shea 2, Joker 1.
So they rotate the same 5, 6.
The top 3 is the same.
Yeah, top 6.
Top 6 were the same here.
Yeah, top 6. We know what it is.
LeBron at 8 is very high, but and I'm with Chris all the way on people putting. I don't understand why so many people think Donovan Mitchell is better than Jalen Brunson. I don't get that. I think Jalen Brunson gets disrespected. I think Jalen Brunson's probably the 8th. He's a top 8 player. He's like the 8th best player in basketball, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't understand that. Again, that sounds like a lot of shade to Spider, who I like, but I'm with. Brunson's done more in the playoffs. He's had more big playoff moments. It's not even close. Like it really, and head to head, he's, as Chris said, he's done the damn thing. So I don't get it.
What they have here, he's the best shooting guard in the league outside of Ant-Man. He finished number 5 in MVP voting, making all first team, all NBA, 6-time All-Star, 24, 5-5 last year compared to Brunson, 26, 7-3, All-Star, All-NBA team for Mr. Brunson. So, I mean, that's a flip of the coin. If you ask me, I'm going JB over Donovan. I love Donovan, but just the playoff success has to mean something when you do these rankings the year after. So
Jalen is doing in New York what Donovan did in Utah, which is take a team far into the playoffs a couple different times with a couple different rosters. That's cool. Like, I agree that it's kind of like a coin flip with those two. How do you decide those coin flips? I think head-to-head is a pretty good way to do it, and we totally ignore it when it comes to those two. 2 straight years, Jalen Brunson sent Donovan Mitchell home in the first round of the NBA playoffs. And it's like, well, Donovan is a little taller and more athletic, so like we know he's better. He just doesn't always show it. And it's like, well, that's not how that works. Like that, like at some point, they play the games for a reason, and we need to weigh what happens. We don't have to make it everything. We don't need to say that Matthew Dellavedova is better than Jalen Brunson because one guy has a ring. We don't need to lie. Yeah. But we also don't need to lie and say, hey, these guys have accomplished about the same in their careers. One always beats the other when they go up against each other. But I think the guy that always loses is better because I said so. Like at some point, we have to be like, hey, guys, let's look at reality. That's the stuff that bothers me. Like, you're doing Cade Cunningham a disservice by putting him top 15 in these lists, because now this year, when he doesn't have the same amount of success or is a first-round exit again, he will get the brunt of the blame for it because aren't you so good? Shouldn't you be able to this and that? And it's like the guy just made it to the playoffs in the first year of his career that he had a real roster around him. That's definitely worth noting. We also don't need to pretend that he won a moral championship. Like, they got eliminated in the first round. That is what D'Angelo Russell did for the Nets. He led them to a first-round exit. Cade Cunningham did it in a way that made his teammates better than D'Angelo made his. That is worth noting. That shows on the stat sheet, and that's important and valuable. I'm not saying Cade Cunningham is no better than D'Angelo Russell. What I am saying is we weren't having conversations after D'Angelo Russell took the lowly Nets to the first round of the playoffs about him being a top 25 player. Forget 20. Forget 15.
Because D'Lo was not looked at as a franchise player for Brooklyn. They look at Cade as a franchise player for Detroit.
And so, like, then we're letting draft slot from years before matter or whatever it is. Like, I'm looking at what's happening on the court. I see a guy who's really talented, really large, knows how to run an offense, has that magic wand that a point guard, a traditional point guard does, where they control the tempo and the pace and the space of the floor.
Yeah.
He also averages the second most turnovers per game after Trae Young, who is not heralded by NBA GMs as some stud, efficient, playmaking, passing shooter. And we're like, oh, but he's young and it's fine. Okay. But why does that mean he's 10 spots better than Jimmy Butler? Why does that mean he's 5 spots better than Pascal Siakam? These are two guys who have been to the NBA Finals several times in their career. We weren't lying in the 4th year of Pascal's career, in the 3rd year of Pascal's career, and being like, well, he looks impressive. And I know it's different because he had like a weird development path. But like, you know, Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, these are guys that in their 3rd year, 4th year in the league were appearing in important playoff games. And no one was like, this is a top 10 player because he looks like a superstar. No, you have to be one. Getting eliminated in the first round is not being a superstar. That is not a bad thing. Cade is absolutely one of the 25 best basketball players on the planet right now. But 15? Like, that feels like one of those things that you just kind of gloss over because it's like, oh, yeah, you know, he's 6'8", and he brought them to the playoffs. They lost after 6 playoff games. Their whole season was over. D'Angelo Russell got eliminated in 5. We didn't talk then about how he was better than Chris Paul or Russell Westbrook because he lost in the first round and they went further, but he did it more impressively. Like, I love hyper focusing on these things that people think are dumb to even like waste time talking about, because it's like, why are we selective with this? Why do we give some guys credit and not others? Like, when a guy that we don't expect to be super good leads a team to the playoffs, it's a one-off and we can write it off. When a guy that we've expected to be good, if Trevor Lawrence brings the Jacksonville Jaguars to the playoffs this year, do you know how many people are going to ignore the years of crap he put on tape and go, see, I told you that was a franchise guy. But like, if you followed his whole career, he was not always a franchise guy. He had to fail his way there. And I think it's okay to say that's what's going on with Cade. I don't think we need to say he's better than James Harden, Jimmy Butler, or Pascal Siakam at basketball.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, KP, I'm going to call the Ringer. I'm gonna call Bleacher Report.
Send him a
Tell
message.
them they're doing that young man a disservice.
So I'm gonna tell him Kris Pursiainen.
There you go.
Some beef with Cade Cunningham. You're doing Cade Cunningham a disservice, putting him up at 15. Take him down.
Jalen Brunson.
And JB should be ahead of Donovan Mitchell.
There's only 3 guards better than Jalen Brunson. It's only 3.
What, Shea? You're gonna say Shea.
I've got
Steph.
And
Luka? You're saying point guard.
Yeah, so you Luka. Those only 3. There's only those 3.
Yeah.
Steph, SGA, and Luka.
Yeah.
He's the 4th.
And Steph is a legacy pick because based on what's happened on the court, he's not outperformed Brunson over the last 2 seasons. We just trust. We know in the back of our head that if it was game 7 tomorrow and you could only have one, you'd take the guy who's won several championships before. But that he's earned that. We also don't have to say that he's been a significantly better player than Brunson over the last 2 years because he's not been.
And that's why to Dexter's point about LeBron, it's like, the legacy lifetime achievement little award will put you at top 10 still because the social media gonna break if they put LeBron at 15, 17. When you talk about LeBron 15, 17, he had 25, 8 and 8 last year. How could he be top? Only 15, but it's gonna.
And then ask those people what Alperen Şengün's counting stats were, and they'll be like, I don't know, probably like 18 points and like maybe like 8 assists or something. And it's like he's stuffing the stat sheet too. You just don't know it, and that's okay. Not every single consumer of a sports product needs to be deeply knowledgeable about the long snapper or about what a star does on a nightly basis. But if you're going to make a list, you have to do the homework. If you're going to put the list out, you have to do the homework.
Well, clearly you don't.
Right.
You do
clearly
have
you
to.
don't.
Yeah,
We
some
as
do it for the shock value.
We as consumers need to keep that standard.
They got the 7 right. They got 7 right.
The top 7, 8 is all right.
Out of 100. They got 7 right out of the 100.
The other 93 is suspect.
If I brought a test home that said 7 on the top,
hey, like the Bart Simpson meme. Hey, at least you tried, bro.
I wouldn't have Wi-Fi. I wouldn't have access to the outside world.
Because I've had a few of those before.
I'd be. Listen. Oh, you don't want to focus? All right. I'll give you something to cry about. You want to cry? Like if you bring home a 7%, that doesn't go well for you.
7 out of 10. Like you got your name right. That's it.
But here we are, and the date maybe. But here we are, half an hour into a discussion about why this list is dumb. So they've won again. They've done it again. They've hoodwinked, bamboozled, and led us astray.
Yeah,
but also, I do think it's an interesting opportunity to talk about why people value the things they do and this and that.
Okay. Real quick around the horn. Dexter, you first. The Knicks won 51 games last year. What's the over-under for this year?
The over-under line, it's funny, I just did something on this today. It's 53.5. I like the Knicks to go over that. I think they win somewhere between 55 to 58 games. Probably 60. Closer to the 55 side. Somebody say 60?
Oh, Denny said 60.
I feel real confident in this Knicks team. I'm telling you, I like what I'm seeing.
I feel confident in them too. Would it shock me if they won 60? I wouldn't be shocked. I just think there are going to be some games where Mike Brown waves a white flag early.
Yes. I can't go 60s too. That's 60's a big bite to chew.
52-55 makes sense, right?
Yeah, I think even like I said, I'll be willing to go 55 to 58.
I don't hate Dexter's range. Yeah,
I like that range. Like if you told me they won 56 games, if I had to put a prediction, I'd say that 56 games is what I think they'll do. I think they're going to be very good. I think they know this is a marathon, not a sprint. They're going to work through stuff on the offense. You know, there's a world in which Cleveland has a better record than them, finishes with the 1 seed. Mm-hmm. There's a world in which Orlando has the best record in the East, and then I still don't trust them, like Kris said in the playoffs. I think the Knicks are going to be about being healthy, playing their best basketball towards the end of the season, but they'll win a lot of games because they're just too talented. I think they're too deep. I think they're a much better team than they were last year. I like the offensive system. And I think people are actually underrating what Mike Brown is going to do for them defensively. I actually think that's not getting talked about enough. I think we're focusing a little bit too much on offense. And I understand why, though. I just want to be clear. I think it's because the Knicks' the two best offensive players are their worst defensive players. And Mike Brown needs to maximize this offense. And that's true. The Knicks need to look like a top 3 offense and a top, I would say, 12 to 10-ish defense for this team, I think, to have a chance of winning the title, which I think they could do. But I think Mike Brown might do some things for this defense in how he deploys Mitchell Robinson, the impact of Mitchell Robinson, how he keeps him healthy, how Mitchell Robinson is going to help OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges be able to play in passing lanes more. There's a lot I think I'm going to like about this Knicks defense. Like, I'm going to make a little bit of a bold prediction and say the Knicks defense is actually going to finish in the top 10. It's going to be better than people think. I think Knicks defense is going to be a little bit better than some people think. But yeah, I'm going to go with 56 wins. That's I haven't given an official prediction, but that's my number. Going 56 wins for the Knicks.
56 KP. Same thing or a little higher, a little lower?
56 was the number I had in my head at first, but honestly, I'll go. That line's 53 and a half. You said, Dex? That's a good line.
53 and a half is what I said.
I want to say 55 wins. But like a tried and true 55. Like you got to the end of the regular season feeling like you learned important things about your team, not that you went all out to win every game possible and weren't willing to experiment because you didn't know if you could afford to. The Knicks are going to experiment and it's not going to work, and they might still come out and win that game. But like they're increasing the risk that they don't. Every time they try something they haven't tried before, because it might go really well and they might blow the other team out of the water with the Towns Yabusele front court playing 22 minutes together that night, or they might not be able to get a single stop in a 4-minute stretch and lose that game entirely because of the 16-0 run that the Hawks or the Kings or whatever team that is playing up tempo went on in that time. So like when you don't know something, there's one way to find out. The Knicks are going to find out the hard way a couple times this year in a couple different ways. And I do think that'll manifest in some variance, like Dex and I were talking about earlier with the Hawks. So I'll go 55 wins for the Knicks. Part of me wants to go more because I think there's so much low-hanging fruit for Brown to pluck. But also, I think some of these other Eastern teams like Cleveland and Orlando and Atlanta are going to, and even Indiana and Milwaukee too. So that's a good amount of teams that are really going to be trying to win every single game and get themselves a top 6 playoff seed. That's what they're going to be fighting for. So I could see the Knicks dropping some games to some teams that like are kind of a little below their level. But I also see them not losing every single time they play the Thunder or Cavs. Like I think now they might blow them out in one game and get blown out the next time, as opposed to getting blown out every time or sometimes having a fake fourth quarter comeback. So give me 55.
Real quick. I think Denny, you get 60 for you. For the Knicks.
55 range is we're all thinking the same high end 50s, which is fine.
Gentlemen, are we saying what seed are we looking at the Knicks? Top 3, top 2, or number
top
1?
3 minimal.
Definitely top 3, but it's
I say they finish second.
That's what I'm with you.
I'm gonna go second. I think Cleveland or some other teams gonna go pedal to the metal. I think they care where they finish. I don't want to say they don't care where they finish. I think it's just they know they're talented enough. If they have the 2 or the 1 seed, like, look, would you want Game 7 in your building if you get into it in the conference finals? Yes, but can the Knicks go win a Game 7 in Cleveland? Yeah, I think they can. Look, I think they're gonna try to play as good as they can. Look, the key in how the season is gonna go, I think a lot to how good of a start the Knicks get off to. which I think they could get off to a better start than some people think. So we'll see.
Yeah, because we had Donahue on last night.
Shout out to Ant.
And the first 10-11, he had them at 8-3.
8-3.
So if you start off 8-3, I think every Knicks fan would take that record going into the season.
Yeah, I take that. I would absolutely take 8-3 would be a great start. Double that in another, 11 games. And if you tell me they're 16-6, you'll sign for that too. After, I generally like to start to evaluate the team when we get to that 25 game mark. That's when I really start being like, okay, what's this team? If the Knicks are, that's what I said 16-6.
So like by Christmas, basically.
So let's say they're 19-8. Well, not that math. 19. Let's say they're 19-6 by 25 games by Christmas. Yeah, let's say they're 19-6. That's pretty good. They should be in a very good place by then. It's about how they look. How's the offense looking? How's the defense looking? How healthy are they at that point? There's a lot, but I do think it's imperative for them to get off to a good start, because if they don't get off to a good start, there's going to be all these questions about Mike Brown, which is not going to be fair. Knicks fans are going to do Knicks fan stuff. The first 3-game losing streak, they're going to be like, oh my God, did we make the right move? Daddy's smiling because he knows it's right.
Yeah.
And,
we've seen it mad times already.
That's what's good. We've seen this. Yeah, we've seen this mad times already. We know what time it is, right? So, I think the Knicks gonna be good. But I think 2 seed is where I'm at with 2 seed.
I want to think positive. I want to say 1 seed. I think they have the roster to do it. It's a lot of momentum, a lot of energy out there. And I think to your point about having a game 7 in your home building, having home court through every round is, I think, because they were 4 seed before, then a 3 seed, then a 2 seed, and it's like, all right, if we get the 1 seed, if you win the games that you're supposed to win, like your Sacramento's, your Charlotte Hornets, your Wizards, and all that Utah Jazz, like don't flop against those teams, then you can get in that 53, 55, 57 range, because you start dropping those L's to those kind of teams on a bad night. It's like, if you only had beaten Washington or the Sacramento, the Charlottes and the Wizards, like, come on, like those add up when it comes down to it, because the Cavaliers might win those games. For us, we got to win all the games we're supposed to win. So that's where I'm at with that. Trying to think what else. Okay, real quick, gentlemen. X factors. Who was the X factor or X factors on this Knicks team right now?
For me, I'm gonna say this. I think this guy's gonna have a really good season for the Knicks. I think he's gonna thrive. That's right, 2-5. Mikal Bridges. I think he's gonna thrive in this offense. I've already liked how he's the player I've been most impressed with in preseason. That I think could do good. I think he's gonna thrive in Mike Brown's offense, in his ability to move without the ball, get to the corners quickly. I think Mikal Bridges, how he plays, is huge for this team. I think he's going to be free offensively. So he's an X factor 1 for me. X factor 2 would be Mitchell Robinson. How much does Mitchell Robinson play? How healthy is he? I think he's just a monster on the glass. He's motivated. It's a contract year. I like players with something to play for. I love that on the roster.
It's the best.
He's playing for a contract. He's got to stay healthy. I think the Knicks are going to be very smart with his minutes, but I think in short periods of time, he's going to be impactful. And the Knicks are going to see that. And then my third X factor is somebody that Kris talked about earlier, and I think the way he's looked at off the bench. I think a lot of people are going to look at Clarkson and Yabusele as the signings, but I think I could say Josh. I know what Josh Hart's going to give me. I'm not worried with Josh Hart, but Deuce McBride. Deuce McBride to me is important off the bench, and I think he's healthier. I think he feels good, and I think if he's going to shoot the way we saw him shoot towards the end of the 23-24 season, because he's healthier, I think he's going to be huge for the Knicks off the bench. So those are my 3 X factors for the Knicks: Bridges, Mitch, Deuce. I think they're huge for this team this season.
Nice. I'm gonna go with Towns. I'm gonna say I'm so high on Mitch as a playoff player that I don't think he's an X factor. I just know he's a factor. You know what you're going to get from Mitch, and you know it's going to help you in the postseason, and you know it's going to help you get there. If the Knicks want to do whatever they want rest him on back-to-backs, not have him play the second half of preseason. They can do whatever they want if they think it'll get him to the postseason healthy. We've seen against Cleveland, against Philadelphia, we've seen against Boston, the effect that he can have on other teams, even when they're actively scheming him out of the series, how that can be a weapon for the Knicks. So with all that established, I'm going to go with Karl-Anthony Towns, who's going to be playing more power forward this season, who's going to be more intentional with regard to having a coach that is willing to tell him, like, hey, I'm not going to just like throw you out there with another center and be like, you guys know who's going to do what. Like, Karl's the shooter, but then you have Karl chasing after Jalen every time Jalen drives in the paint and Jalen turns around to kick out to the shooter and Karl's like 3 feet behind him at the free throw line. And it's like, okay, well, if you're there, I'm going to just put up this floater myself. Like, I'm better at it than you. And I don't think anyone disagrees with that. So giving Karl a more defined role of, hey, you're out on the perimeter more often. We like when you put the ball on the floor and charge to the rim. Karl has great touch when he gets stuck. When a player's driving to the rim and they get stuck and they get in that mode of like, I need to find someone outside to pass this to as quickly as possible. Karl is both big and skilled enough to just shoot it over the top of his defender in those situations. Like one-handed, just like kind of flinging it at the backboard. Like, he will make those. So have him take them. Don't run from who he is as a player. Use his strengths to your advantage. Karl-Anthony Towns has been a key member of a team that reached the conference finals in back-to-back seasons. Also, it was in a different conference each time. So you can't say, oh, it was the Eastern Conference and Hallie and Tatum got hurt. Neither one was hurt when he was stamping his conference finals ticket, and Tatum got hurt at the very end of that series. Halliburton got hurt after that series. So, like, you can't really discredit that. At some point, you have to understand that the Knicks have a lot riding on the success of Brunson and Towns. You consider, or you like to think what Brunson's going to give you. He's going to be a top 5 caliber NBA player that maybe ranks out in that 7 or 8 range at the end of the year, but gave you that top 5 kind of season, is that number 1A kind of option. But you need a supporting cast that's going to work with him. That means Mikhail, that means OG, that means Josh, that means Deuce. That means when Mitch is out, Ariel being productive as a third stringer, stepping up to a second stringer, right? That we all know that it takes a village. That said, Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be out there on the court with Jalen Brunson, maybe more than any other Knick throughout the course of the season. I reported when the Knicks hired Mike Brown that of the candidates they interviewed, he was the highest on the offensive potential of the pairing of Brunson and Towns. That does not sound like a coach that wants to stagger those guys all game long. So how will he deploy the rest of the players in a way that allows him to have Brunson and Towns as the 1-4 and at times as the 1-5? Karl-Anthony Towns is my X factor for this Knicks season. If he can really, really get his nose to the grindstone on conditioning and be ready to play both in a high-paced offense and play power forward in that offense, I think he's in for a huge season.
Denny Blanco, any final ones for KP and Dexter?
I want to thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on It's in the Game podcast. We appreciated you so much for sharing your intellect, your knowledge about the game. And, we expect you to be back again and again and again.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
And spread the word. When you come to It's in the Game podcast, we want you to come here and share your knowledge. We don't want to overtalk you. We don't want to be the show. We want you to be the show. So we appreciate you taking time out of your busy day, because we know you could be anywhere else, but you took time to speak with us. So we definitely do appreciate you, gentlemen.
Appreciate y'all both, man.
Appreciate you guys for the opportunity.
Randy and Denny. Yeah, Randy and Denny, keep doing your thing, man. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, man. Dexter Henry from New York Post Sports and Kris
You had
Pursiainen.
You had it before, but then because there's so many vowels, touching like everything, you'll find yourself doubting yourself on it a year from now. Like a year from now, you'll know exactly how to say it, and you'll be like, "Is that how?"
That's why I'm calling you KP instead,
dude. Kris P and KP have gotten me through my life.
Let me tell you something, Kris. If you knew my last name,
oh boy,
That's why you see Blanco there. Because if you saw my last name, you'd be like,
Denny's like, you're not even gonna know.
Yeah.
Off the air. Yeah, now.
Off air, I'll tell you, and then you're gonna be like, okay.
Kris Pursiainen from Locked On Knicks podcast. Check it out throughout the whole entire Knicks season. Gentlemen, I know I'll see you guys very soon.
Yes.
At some games. We'll chop it up. But thank you guys for coming on tonight, and we greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
y'all, man.
Yeah, appreciate y'all,
y'all.
Denny. Always appreciate the energy, Randy. Appreciate you putting it together. Like I said, just send me the text. I'll be back. You guys
Thank
got
you,
it.
man. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
Peace, guys.
Catch you guys.